We got some wonderful things happening within the BitTensor ecosystem. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 3 explosive subnets with massive potential. Make sure you engage with this video. Let me know in the comments what your favorite subnet is, and I'll also post at the end of the video how to buy TAO subnets if you're interested into learning more about the ecosystem. But let's get into these subnets because I think a lot of people need to know about these. You might have seen my video on X where I was talking about TAO FUD, and in my opinion, TAO is closer to the bottom than it is the top. And you already know you want to get into these ecosystems when they bottom out at the absolute floor. And I think that TAO itself, regardless of what subnet you're into, has massive potential. There's some really cool things. I can't cover all the subnets, so I'm going to cover 3 of them, but there's some really cool things happening within the TAO ecosystem. You can see TAO is sitting here on the daily riding the trend line like a champ. In fact, we just printed a buy signal here on BitTensor on the daily. If the FOMC meeting shows any hint of dovishness, I'm expecting altcoins like TAO to go crazy. And if altcoins like TAO do go crazy, the ecosystems are going to go absolutely ballistic, right? A lot of people will rotate that liquidity from TAO into the TAO subnet. So let's talk about these 3 BitTensor subnets. I call them the essential BitTensor stack. Bitcast, which is a content layer stack, AI verified content creation. Choots, Subnet 64, which is decentralized A compute, right? The electricity to run these AI models. It's a compute layer. And VoidAI, Subnet 106, which is a connectivity layer. Their aim is to bridge all of the Solana, Degen, Choots, liquidity, and capital all to BitTensor ecosystem, even builders and developers. Bitcast is a AI-powered content verification system. Creators submit content based on specific briefs. AI automatically verifies content, matches requirements, eliminates subjective quality debates, scales trust in decentralized networks. I think that this is huge, right? Because this also protects marketing services from getting scammed from all these content creators and KOLs that buy likes, buy comments, and buy engagement. You cannot scam AI as it covers the analytics. And for a content creator, you're positioning yourself not just early within an ecosystem, but an opportunity compared to YouTube, right? YouTube, the thing about it is it's so diluted, right? It's just so much people doing it, right? So that concentration of capital has to go so many places. If you're a content creator, and especially if you make crypto content, if you want to be part of an ecosystem that's thriving, you can't find a better ecosystem than BitTensor when it comes to incentivizing. Subnet 93 attacks a global creator economy, a niche that's only going to grow from here because truly we are in the attention economy. I expect Bitcast to have exponential growth. Looking at the current success, they provide marketing services to promising BitTensor subnets. What do you think is going to happen to the appreciation of the price once they start providing marketing services for everybody, even things outside of crypto like products, right? The buybacks are going to be crazy because some of that revenue goes back to buyback and buying the Alpha token. So this could be crazy for anybody that's owning the Alpha token. Content agencies building on top of a platform, creator network growing rapidly. If you haven't noticed, more and more creators are joining Bitcast. This is only going to help the Alpha token appreciate massively. I think this thing is like a $2 million market cap. The long-term vision here, foundational infrastructure for AI verified content, rails for decentralized content creation, bridge Web 2 agencies into Web 3. This is the part that I think people are sleeping on because they only think like this marketing stops at BitTensor subnets. It's only the beginning, right? Once we start expanding outside, and like I said, something like this can transcend crypto, This has a massive potential, especially if the BitTensor ecosystem gets adopted. Let's talk about Choots. I really like Choots. I'm actually doing an example right now. I'm creating a picture. As I said, create me a hyper realistic picture of a raindrop sitting on a leaf. Zoom in with award-winning photography. Now we're going to let this load up and we're going to see what type of picture it creates. The cool thing about Choots is you can use their APIs right within the platform. This is why you're seeing billion-dollar projects like Fetch build AI agents that do image generation utilizing Choots. Choots powers everything AI models, right? So when you compare it to AWS, when you compare it to Google, when you compare it to Microsoft, there is no comparison. Guys, my $5 been up here for almost a month and it's barely moved. It is so cheap to run AI models on Choots. And as they start adopting more LLMs, more AI models, I mean, they adopt the new one each and every day. You can see here, we got a picture created. You put the prompt and guess what? All you got to do is download it and it downloads just like that. And if you had an application or you had a platform where you want to integrate image generation, let's say you're building a Telegram bot for your project and you want it to automatically create images based on prompts, you can use the API directly from Choots platform and integrate that into your workflow. Choots is a absolute gem, guys. Choots is decentralized AI compute. AI can do nothing without its electricity. If you don't charge up your Tesla, it ain't gonna drive. If you don't charge up your AI models, they ain't gonna work. And Choots is disrupting a billion-dollar industry with the most cost-efficient prices. So with all these indie developers creating things, creating that, guess what? They need electricity. Everybody's gonna come to compute because these other centralized entities can't compete. Subnet 64 powers AI models globally, advantages over centralized competitors, significant lower costs, censorship resistance, global geographic distribution, unlimited scalability. I've built multiple applications and it's really easy to integrate these APIs. You can even build out your own Choots. Here's some of the use cases: AI training, large language model training at scale, real-time inference, live AI applications and services. You just seen it. Research computing, compute-intensive research projects. So I think that Choots is massive, right? They're already processing 160 billion tokens a day, which means people are using the project. This project has demand. And guess what? All of the revenue that they're generating is going back to buy back the Alpha token. Yes. Now accepting fiat payments. I added the $5 with cash, not crypto. All revenue goes back to the Alpha token buybacks. Hence the reason you're seeing Choots hang around a $100 million project. This is easily a $1 billion project or more if you compare it to anything in its sector. As far as the elite compute providers, they're all over 10 billion or higher. This is massive, right? AI compute token demand has grown 250x. 250x since the inception. Last but not least, I want to talk about Subnet 106 VoidAI. They're using Chainlink tech, yes, CCIP tech, to build a cross bridge that's going to bring in massive liquidity, not just from Solana, but in the future, Base, Ethereum, and even other ecosystems. In fact, it's already live on Solana. You can go check the liquidity token mint addresses for almost every subnet right now. You can even provide liquidity and earn. VoidAI cross-chain bridge, Subnet 106 connecting BitTensors to all chains. So right now it's just Solana, but the goal here is ETH, ARB, Poly, Base, and even more. Bridge, TAO, and Alpha tokens. We are going to look to connect all of the liquidity back into BitTensor's ecosystem, guys. VoidAI, enterprise-grade security. They're using Chainlink CCIP, secured by cross-chain interoperability protocol. Developer benefits, one-line code of integration. What this means is if you're building an application and if you want to add these TAO subnets, right, the Solana TAO subnets within your application, let's say you're building a swap, it only takes one line of code to integrate it. This is huge for any indie developer that maybe has low code experience. So this could be absolutely massive for adoption. Instant DeFi compatibility, no custom development needed. trading assets on Raydium, Uniswap, and eventually Aerodrome on Base. You can even earn on VoidAI without any technical experience. They allow liquidity mining, right? Rewards miners for genuine liquidity. Auto rebalances across all chains. So the liquidity that you put out there rebalances across all chains and subnets, allowing them to have liquidity where there's no hiccups. If you ever bought a token with no liquidity, guess what? You can buy, but in some cases you can't sell. So that is very, very bullish for what they're working to build here. Bootstrap's new pool depth. They have the Dual-Pool Treasury. So every transaction mints a fee, right? 50% of that goes to the liquidity to make the liquidity even more thick. 50% of that goes back to the buyback of the alpha token. So think about this. The more massive this bridge becomes, the more the token appreciates and the more liquidity goes to these tokens, which will bring more traders because traders like to trade where it's a lot of liquidity. They've built a flywheel that allows each transaction to mint a fee where 50% of that goes to the liquidity and the other 50% goes to buy back the token. So this also rewards alpha token holders where you also can vote, right? Depending on how many tokens you have, you can vote on things within the VoidAI ecosystem. You know, maybe they want to add a bridge here. Maybe you want to vote on you know, how the liquidity or how the emissions will work. Will have an opportunity to vote when you hold the alpha token. So that was the triple double infrastructure stack. These subnets are some of my favorites. Yes, I am a big fan of Subnet 93 Bitcast, Subnet 64 Choots, and also Subnet 106 VoidAI. And hey, I hold all of them, okay? This is not financial advice, but I do hold these subnets. I talk about them, so I hold them. Let me know what your favorite subnet is. Let me know if I missed out on your favorite subnet. Let me know inside the comments, like and subscribe. How high do you think TAO can go? Can it go to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 this cycle? I want to know. Everybody let me know. Like, subscribe. It's your boy Crypto Million. I'll catch you in the next one.